I'd like to take this time to thank each of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. We're going to have two forums this year, one this evening and one on the 25th. It'll be here at the same building at 7 o'clock. Everything's the same. Tonight, the purpose really is just to get to know the candidates and to find out a little bit about how they stand on some of the issues around town. And then the next time, they're going to be more general in nature, and the next time we want to get a little bit more specific and delve a little bit deeper into them, and so it can help you make a more informed decision. So I don't want to take any time up to delay this process. Stephanie Chernigo, who moderated last year's, is here with us again, so I'd like to bring her to the podium. So please get out and vote and encourage others to do the same.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Judy, for opening it up. And wow, to see, you know, at least half of the auditorium filled, that's nice. I love to see people getting involved and being interested in the issues that affect them. And thank you, of course, to the candidates for being here and spending so much of your time preparing for tonight and the other session to follow. We appreciate your interest and expertise that you're going to share with us. So, the ground rules for tonight's Meet the Candidate session are we're going to have a 2-minute opening for each candidate, and in that 2-minute opening we're going to introduce ourselves, list any specific qualifications, anything in your background or experience that will make you the best person for the position desired. And so we have candidates for mayor and candidates for places 4 and 5 on the city council. After the introduction, we'll get to some of the questions. We had the opportunity for people to submit questions. If, for example, you have some questions that come out on certain issues after tonight's forum, you will still have the opportunity to submit questions. And where do they submit those, Judy?
To the chamber office.
To the chamber office in time for the next Meet the Candidate session. So we'll have about 1 minute to answer the questions after the 2-minute introduction, and I'll let you know how we'll proceed with that. So to begin, if I could ask Ms. Kelly to start us off with a 2-minute introduction.
About 3 years. I came from Colorado. I have 4 children, and I have 3 grandchildren. I wanted to jump right to the grandchildren, could you tell? I have 2 children still currently living with me. I have a son who goes to Alstyne High School, who is a graduating senior, and I have got a daughter that lives with me and works with me in Addison. She attended classes here at Grayson College for a short period of time. I work in Addison. I'm an investment advisor, and I enjoy my field very much. I formerly, however, am part of the nonprofit realm. I was in the church and nonprofit staff for about 10 years prior to coming to Van Alstyne. I have an interesting background. It's a little bit more varied, I think, than some of the other candidates might have. I have a strong nonprofit background, as I mentioned, which I think is really positive toward working together with the city. I have been involved in more the state and national governmental level. And this is my first foray into the local government type of position. And when I was in California and Colorado, I did have the opportunity to work together with individuals that were not managing, but were preparing and planning for city growth and development. In Huntington Beach in particular, I had the opportunity to watch a team of individuals that expanded the city, actually changed it from what had been an oil-producing city, and with a preserve that was there where oil wells had been, and they were able to modify the city plan and develop it into what is today a world-class beach community that draws people from literally all over the world. They have surf competitions there and other things, and it's been was really neat to be able to stand beside them and watch that transition occur. I was in the savings and loan industry at the time, And this was our board of directors and the board of directors of an associated bank that did that. I was the vice president of the savings division of that savings and loan and did the branching, etc. And a lot of community involvement and events as a result of that position. In Colorado, Colorado Springs grew rapidly in the season that I was there. I was there from 1989 until January of 2010 when I came here. Again, just standing on the sidelines watching, but I also was able to participate in a major development project that a nonprofit put together there in Colorado Springs, and was intimately involved in the purchasing of the land and in the restructuring of the land into what would be a viable community, together with a church, apartments, senior living, and many other things. I've always been heavily involved in the community that I lived in, and I would like to be heavily involved in Van Alstyne as well.
Thank you. My name is Teddy Ann Salmon. I have lived in Van Alstyne almost all of my life, the Van Alstyne area. I attended school here. I also attended North Texas. I did not graduate, however. I did get married to a very nice man who's in the audience. We've been married over 50 years. We have 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and I have a great-grandson who is going to be 1 year old this weekend, and we're very proud to have our family. And it's in this area. I have 3 children, 3 grandchildren that are in the Van Alstyne school. One that lives in Howe, but the other 2 live here in Van Alstyne. I love Van Alstyne. My parents were merchants here in Van Alstyne. I have been a mayor in Van Alstyne. My father was a mayor before me. I have a political background. I am familiar with the county as well as the city. I am active in several volunteer organizations that have been in the past. I have worked with Keep Van Alstyne Beautiful. I am on the Cemetery Association. I have worked with the CDC. And I work with the museum. I have been on the library board. But the project that I cherish the most is one that we're working on right now, and I have supported it since its beginning. And that is a program that we work with. The museum works with the elementary grade school, the 4th grade. And if you're not familiar with it, it is mandatory that the 4th grade students write an essay about their hometown. And this is supported by the museum. We give tours to the 4th grade. And then we go, they write, because we stress to the children, no matter if you have lived here 1 day or 3 generations, this is now your hometown. And it's something to be proud of, and you need to know your history. So this is a program that I truly enjoy, and I think it's very beneficial to the town. I think we have I meet a lot of people through the museum, and it's very encouraging. I like Van Alstyne. More than that, I love it. I have volunteered it, whether political or otherwise, and I do work for my hometown. I have recently closed my business, which was an antique store. I was an antique dealer. So I am familiar with the merchants that are also in this town and the needs that it needs. And I would like to work for this town and make it united and see that we can all get along together. And I would like the opportunity to be a mayor for all of Van Alstyne because it's very dear to me.
Turning next, we have place 4 for the City Council. And let me just, before you start, Mr. Moore, we have Mr. Russell Moore, who's present and running for place 4. And also Mr. David Matta, who's with us tonight. Not present are 2 candidates for place 4, Pat Patterson and Robert Lewis Sr. But we're delighted to hear from at least 2 of the candidates for place 4. So if you would, Mr. Moore, go ahead and tell us a little introduction.
I'm Russell Moore. I have a wife of 16 years and 4 kids, all in Van Alstyne, from 4 years old to 12 years old. Been very active in Van Alstyne since we moved here 13 years ago. And one of the things that I've enjoyed is being a part of a community and not just a part of a group of people. First, got very heavily involved in my church, where I serve in many different ministries within the church. But then as my kids grew, it gave me a big opportunity to serve within the community by coaching them and helping other kids within the community, and broadening my acts of service throughout this community. And my heart's really always been with children, so I've had a lot of focus within the children areas of service. My background, I graduated from Texas Tech University in the 90s, and so I'm still a very young man. But after graduating, we moved out here, and my wife was originally from Garland. I grew up in Seminole, Texas, and I told her I was not going to move to a big city. I just wasn't going to do it. She wanted to be close to home, so we made an agreement we would find a small town, and we fell in love with this little town. And it's been really neat to grow up here. This is the second longest. I grew up 18 years in Seminole, Texas, and now it's 13 years here. So this is my second longest place to live, and not looking forward to moving anywhere else. Embedded in here and want to serve this community. I've gotten heavily involved since graduating from college in the development and general contracting business, and worked for a couple of very large companies. And my primary role has been working with cities from the development part, from the raw land into the phases of actually getting it going. And this meant from commercial to residential to mixed-use properties, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of politicking just to get things off the ground sometimes. So my understanding of how a city government needs to be able to work with developers and different people that want to come in and make a business or make a living in a community is extensive. And that's one of the things that I bring to the table that I feel is valuable. I believe in a very positive and team approach that, it's easy to point fingers and to chastise one another, but it's a lot more difficult to walk hand in hand and sit down and work out solutions. And I want to bring to the table a positive approach to governing the city of Van Alstyne, because a board that gets along and that can work together is going to move forward. But a board that fights, bickers, and just argues over the best way to do it is never going to move forward. We have a spectacular group of employees that work for the city of Van Alstyne. We have a police chief that's been here 20 years and has made a lot of sacrifices to make sure that the city of Van Alstyne is best served. He's the most humble police chief I've ever known. Frank Baker is a dedicated man. Will bend over backwards to work with you. The fire department is the same way, and we have an opportunity to take these assets and work with these people to make Van Alstyne a continued better place to live. Not every town can do that.
I'm sorry, I've got to keep once in a while. I got to be the Mr. Madden. You have the floor.
Okay, my name is David Motto. I hope you'll bear with me. I've never done this before. This is my first time. I'm not used to speaking in front of people. But I have been in Van Alstyne since 1991. I was chief of police here back then. I worked at the police department. Originally from McKinney, Vietnam vet. I'm married to a hometown girl. She's been here all her life. A lot of you know her is Glenda Cook. I have 5 grandsons, 1 granddaughter, which is spoiled rotten. My grandson goes to school here. My background is basically in law enforcement. That's all I've ever known. I've been in law enforcement since 1975. I came to work here, like I said, as a reserve officer. Dedicated, gave my free time and then I worked my way up into a full-time position, and then up to chief. When I resigned here, I moved on to the Grayson County Sheriff's Office, where I worked there for 8 years. And when I quit the Grayson County Sheriff's Office, I moved on to private security, worked for Mary Kay for 10.5 years, first security to Mary Kay. And then from there, now I am a special investigator for Child Protective Services for the state of Texas. I've been there for 3.5 years. It's a very strenuous job. It's an ongoing thing. As most of you know, this is Child Abuse Awareness Month. I hope y'all remember that. If you see any child abuse or you suspect it, call in. It always doesn't hurt to call. I know I'm hitting my job more. It doesn't hurt to call because the time you don't call is the time you should have. And it's our job to investigate and decide. The only thing I bring to the board is that I'm willing to work with the city councilmen, see what our problems are, try to correct our problems, use our money wisely, be involved with the citizens, ask their opinions for things, be involved with the community and the council people, just everybody get along. That's what it's about. And I think once in their life, I think everybody ought to run for city council.
Thank you, Mr. Matta. And we have all 3 of the candidates that are running for place 5 on the City Council. And we're going to start with Mr. Billy Plake.
My name is Billy Plake. I'm married for 42 years to my wife Donna, which I see snuck in back there. Yeah, while I was paying attention. We have 2 sons, 2 granddaughters, 2 daughter-in-laws, 1 granddaughter, and 2 grandsons on the way right now. One of them probably a couple weeks, and then another one at the end of August. The first one we actually get to see, so this will be fun. We've lived in Georgetown for almost 8 years. I retired from the Federal Reserve Bank in December of 2004, and we moved here from Duncanville. I'm a deacon at the First Baptist Church. I've been on the council since 2009, May of 2009. When I took office, my objectives were to provide more restaurants in town and more places to eat, to keep the downtown area growing and help get it fixed up and hopefully make it a really neat downtown area, and to get some more employees for Van Alstyne. Well, as far as restaurants are concerned, we have added 9 new restaurants over the course of that time. Bucks North, El Patillo Escondido, Tito's Navarrez, Mexican Grill, Pizza Hut, Jack in the Box, Brahms, Whistle Stop, Nacho Mamas, and Sally's. And I know those two out of those have already closed just this last week, but we're still trying. It wasn't anything to do with the city. The downtown area has grown and improved as storefronts on Marshall and Main have been cleaned up or redone, and a number of storefronts are ready to be purchased and come to life. Other items that the council have accomplished while I've been on the council is I was very instrumental in working with the animal control ordinance. We've resurfaced, I know it's hard to believe this, but we've resurfaced 11 of 33 miles in the city. I know it's hard to find those 11 now, but many improvements for city parks, readjustment of city finances to start creating funds to clean up and deterring infrastructure. We started that last year, implemented recycling as part of a new trash pickup service, maintained original website of the city, and rebuilt the sewer plant to conform with state standards. Caterpillar has moved here as part of their plans, moved here from Sherman, which has added employees. A place by the name of Walker Insurance Phone Center, Hallmark Fire Apparatus, and Priority Public Safety have all moved to Van Alstyne. However, the most important thing that I can do as a councilman is I am very supportive of the management team that we presently have in place in Van Alstyne. That's from the city manager all the way down to the city secretary to the chief of police to the interim to the new director of public works. If we as a people and a council will support them and give them the chance to do the things they want to do, I think the town will be helped tremendously. The object of us is just to help them out and provide for their, to give them direction to go the right way, and they will do it.
I'm Melvin Barker. I've lived here in Van Alstyne for 6 years. I'm raised in Grayson County. I've been married for 22 years now. My wife Lisa. We have 4 daughters, 3 grandchildren, and my background is in aviation. I've been a quality manager now for little over 20 years. I've been at the same company for 29 years. I have a technical electronic background. My primary duty as a quality manager is to deal with the Federal Aviation Administration and regulatory compliance. I'm a liaison for audits for commercial, corporate, as well as federal employees. The company's been in business since '81, and I've been there since '83, so might as well call that my home. My purpose here tonight is to become more involved with Van Alstyne. Since I've been here, I've grown to love this town. I have lived in various small towns. Previously, I lived in Tom Bean for a little over 10 years. I was cutmaster there for the Scouts for a little over 7. When we moved to Van Alstyne, what I liked about it is the friendliness of you guys. You are the nicest people in the whole area, I'm telling you now. We've had nothing but good things to say. I like to see Van Alstyne grow, but at a reasonable rate to where we could sustain, the proper growth, and that we flourish from it. I hope that I can bring your confidence in a vote so that I can help bring unity to the council and to help make the things go the places that you want them to go. And I hope for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
How y'all doing? Once again, I'm running for city council. This will be my second attempt. The reason why I'm involved in politics, I'm really concerned about our city, some of the issues we have, our infrastructure, the way it's going. But I've lived here all my life. Probably no less than a 4th generation Van Alstyner, at least in this area, on both sides of my family, my mom and my dad's side. Main thing I'm running for, once again, is I just want to see I believe that the city council or Van Alstyne city government needs to be a little bit more citizen friendly with its people. Like I say, I love this town. I feel like most people in this town are, I've known them all my life, and they're more like family than anything. And sure would like to see y'all get out and support me. Thank you.
We're going to shorten it up a little bit to 1-minute answers, and I will try not to ding too many people, but you got to help me with this, okay? So try to keep your answers to a maximum of a minute. If you're less, that's great too. So we're not going to penalize you for sitting in the order that you did. We're going to mix it up so that the other candidates go first in a rotating fashion, okay? So the first question, we're going to start with a big picture type of question to make it a little easier to ease into some of these, and then we'll get more detailed as we go. The first question is, how do you envision Van Alstyne 10 years from now? What's your idea of Van Alstyne, over the next 10 years, and what role would you like to play in that? We'll start with Mrs. Salmon first this time. Thank you.
What would I envision in 10 years? I would like to see a Van Alstyne that kept its small town atmosphere even though it was growing. We have a junior college that's already growing, and it will continue to grow. We are growing in the West mostly. We have developments of engineers that are coming into town. We have architects. We have a variety of people. I would envision that we could all work together and each one could contribute something new and different to our town. Yet it would still stay the same with the small town atmosphere. I would like to see it be in harmony with each other, getting along, and everything. It can't always be positive. We're human beings. But I do think that we can have a positive attitude. The city would be friendly to not only merchants, but citizens, and follow all the needs of the citizens. So I see us as a growing community with a small town atmosphere and with a very positive outlook for the future, where the future is involved. As a college town, and also a town where many people like to come to retire.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Sanders.
Thank you.
I was a little nervous at the get-go, and I failed to mention that I sit on the board of directors of the Economic Development Corporation here in Van Alstyne, so I'll go ahead and say that. And the reason that I joined the EDC and put my application in for that is because I perceive that we are a growing community now. And I would like to be a part of the growth. I believe in planned growth. I think that Van Alstyne is currently growing, but I do foresee that it will grow quite a bit more. One of the things that I think is very important as we grow is that we preserve the beauty of our downtown. I love our downtown. I do a lot of shopping down there. I visit the restaurants and other establishments. I think it is a jewel in Van Alstyne. And I would like to see us be able to farm, if you will, for the businesses and the developers and the builders that we would like to see here in Van Alstyne. There are two ways to grow, and one is willy-nilly, which means we just wait for the growth to come to us. The other way that you grow is you go and you find the opportunities that you want here in the city. It can be different when the city owns the land, or that individuals that are participating in the growth of the city own the land. It's a different thing that we have in Van Alstyne, where the land is owned by individuals, and some of those individuals have owned the land a long time. So we're going to have to cooperate together. I agree very much with Teddy Ann that I think that Van Alstyne is already a very friendly town. I'd like to see it continue to keep its small town feel and that community, sense of community that we have. That is just being consistently watered, so to speak. We do parades, we do all kinds of wonderful events that draw the community out. We do all kinds of things with our schools.
Got to cut it for there.
Sure, that's fine.
Well, the only thing I see is that hopefully we can bring more businesses into this town, so that way we can keep our people that work here, don't have to drive just 30, 40, 50 miles to Dallas or wherever they're going, because the price of gas is not going to get any cheaper. I'd like to see more businesses come in, more people get involved. Of course, we're growth of the town, we're going to get crime. So we need to make sure that we're going to budget for a new police department, a larger fire department. A lot of these little towns have gone to permanent 24/7 fire departments because you have to. If you find a fire department, large enough fire department to cover your needs, you're going to see crime come up, of course, and you're going to see insurance rates go up because it's going to have to cover everything. I would like to see us be friendly like always, keep our downtown too, kind of like McKinney did. I grew up in McKinney. McKinney has a real nice downtown. I say, well, we can't keep ours, but we got to keep people friendly. We've got to let people know that we want them here and make sure that they stay here.
Since I've lived out here, my father-in-law grew up out here, and he said one thing that they couldn't stop was growth. And he grew up in Garland, and said when he started out there it was a country town, and it soon became the largest suburb in Dallas. But one of the things that I've learned is that when you know the growth is coming, you need to be smart about how it's going to happen. And there's been towns that have painted a picture in history that weren't smart. They just allowed the growth to come, and they didn't plan effectively, and they ended up in a bad spot in the future. So looking to the future in our planning, trying to create a balance between businesses and homes and the different varieties of price ranges of homes, and being effective with the infrastructure and really planning out your city. It's not, as somebody said, it's not, you don't want to just fly into it willy-nilly. There needs to be proper planning. And in 10 years, we could be a lot different than we see today, especially if our economy can keep growing. And that means that the growth is coming and we can't stop it. We can try to control how it happens. And when I say control, I mean, you know, that's what the city council's for, not just allowing any business or anything just to come in, but to set some standards and to make sure things are done right.
In 10 years, I could see Van Alstyne growing, and not only growth, but also do have the infrastructure, the support, the utilities that are needed, the streets that are needed to support the growth. Growth is coming. Since I've worked in Dallas over these 20-some-odd years, people have been moving more and more to the suburbs, to the smaller towns, because they wanted a small town environment. And I see Van Alstyne growing. Even in the past 6 years that I've been here, it's been growing. Just like Blake here said, that the food facilities have grown. I see they're doing utility work all the time at various places. So it's growing, and we need the proper infrastructure and the right planning to make this all happen. And I'd like to be a part of that. Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, growth is coming to town, and I know we have to deal with it. I'd like to keep the hometown environment, you know, with the friendly people if we could. I envision a downtown with a nightlife. I'd like to see more restaurants come in with lots of choices, and I mean, you know, years past you could go downtown on Saturday night, they say, especially back in the 50s, and that's where everybody from all these small towns would come into Van Alstyne. And I'd love to see that again. You know, have a different store, like to have a steakhouse downtown or something, you know, lots of choices. And as far as our parks go, I got a vision for our parks. I think they have done a real good job over the last few years with the new park, and even what they're doing with the park north of town up there by my house. You know, I've heard people say we ought to consider maybe putting in a water park, looking into that. That would attract, I don't know if we got the money or not, but it'd bring in money. You know, up there on the old football field. And, yeah, we used to, like I said, the fall festivals we used to have here, I don't know if any of y'all remember them during the fall. I'd like to see something like that again, have some kind of fall festival. It was hundreds and hundreds of people that would come here back in the late 80s, back all through the 70s and 60s. But yeah, I'd like to keep that.
In 10 years, I see the housing addition of Georgetown being filled in. All those houses there, probably 2 or 3 other housing additions starting on different sides of town. I see the downtown area still struggling, probably, but I think it'll still grow. I think there's enough people around that care about it that will keep it going and head it that way. My part in it as a councilman is to finally turn over control of the city to the city workers and let them run the city and us stay out of their business and start planning and doing planning for the future and what kind of growth we do want to have and where we want to have it and how we want to control it and doing that kind of stuff. That's what the council should be doing, is not worrying about what goes on day to day, but helping make sure that that process gets done. And so when the growth does occur, we're ready for it. We will be there helping them out get the place they need to be.
We're going to get into a little more detail on specific qualifications. So we want to understand what qualities do you possess that would assist you in leading the city of Van Alstyne. Would you please tell us about your specific experience in leadership roles, particularly with regard to managing and budget? So if we could start with Ms. Kelly.
As much as I've tried to get away from it over the years, I suppose, I have always been involved in finance my entire adult career. I got a degree in social work, and that gave me my heart for the nonprofits. However, when I went into my fields, it was into the savings and loan industry, and then into the business side of the nonprofits, and then now into investment advice. I do nonprofit support right now, as well as startup for small businesses. I like to say that I like to help people go forward. I believe that the gift that I can bring to the city is to be able to help with city budgets, setting budgets, making sure that we're tracking on the budgets, and be a support to the professional management that we have. I think that we have an outstanding city staff led by Frank Baker, and I believe that they already are tracking with that. They are doing everything they can to monitor the budget that's been set by the city council this year. They work together with the city council to set that budget. And I believe that I can assist in those types of any kind of financial issue going forward.
One thing is, I have served as mayor 3 terms in the city. I believe that the main role for the mayor of any city is public relations, and it's very important for her to fill that role. I have worked with the merchants and have done many things to promote the city of Alstyne. I have been a manager at what was the Snap Center, which is now the Elders Club. I have owned my own business, the Antique Blade, for 10 years. I have also worked with the museum. I worked with the Historical Commission. I have always been active, my husband and I both, in the scouting program. We like to work with people. We like to do things. This past Christmas, I coordinated the Christmas activities for the city of Van Alstyne. I have written a short play to promote the city of Van Alstyne. The play is done by the Daughters of the American Revolution and will be played May the 5th by people from Van Alstyne in the section that promotes Van Alstyne. So I think the role as mayor is very important in the public relation part of it. And I do feel like I have a good rapport with the merchants, and it's very important that whoever is the mayor, that they put forth this positive attitude that we do move forward.
Well, thank you.
Well, this is where I excel, is in management, because I've been in project management for years, and now I currently own my own company, and I have had to create budgets and assign the budgets and make sure they get accomplished. I've been over about $150 million worth of projects at one time. The largest project that I was overseeing and was in control of the budget was an $88 million project. Like I say, this is where I excel. This is all this is what I do. So I can bring to the table a lot of expertise with budget management and creating budgets and where to cut, how to find things that you don't always know exist. Find money where you didn't know it was there, and save money where you didn't know you could save. That's just what's been a part of my job for many years. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, the only management or responsibility I've ever had was actually we worked here with the chief of police. We had to do our budgets. We worked along with the city council and make sure we had our money for our employees. We also had to make sure that we had a budget that was going for unexpected expenses. That's basically the only leadership that I have. Thank you.
Yeah, about the only experience I've got with finance and management is probably I'm responsible for well over $500,000 worth of trucks every time I take out a Denton and head up north to Canada or Nova Scotia or California or where I go. And I'm responsible for all the finance and keeping up with all the records with that. If I was elected, I would sure try to see that a lot more of our money is spent a little bit more responsible and would go back to work for the taxpayer, such as go back into our infrastructure. I believe that we have a few programs that are in there right now that could probably be cut back, and we could put that money back in to working for the taxpayer. Thank you.
I have been on the council for 4 years, so I went through 4 budgets. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of our city budgets. And I think that I've learned how to help us make the right decisions for the future of our town. Management-wise, I've managed lots of projects for the Federal Reserve Bank, but never really managed people that much. It's always been, you know, a project or setting up something like that or designing something. So, you know, but I still think that I know how to work with numbers. I know how to work with accounting numbers. I understand all that. So if I do that and understand the city and how it works, which I've learned that now, I think that's a great asset to knowing where to go.
Thank you.
Okay. As I said, I've been a quality manager for many years, over 20 years, and I manage several different types of inspectors. I'm also, as quality, I also review all contracts that my company deals with, where we set up budgets and proposals to be able to get the best dollar, you know, for the contract. As quality, you're always under the eye of the budget, you know, so you have to manage your time, your resources as best as you can to get the best return to make a profit. I have been, as far as leadership skills, my company decided to promote me early in my career, and I've been a manager of either production or quality running people. I managed over 900 pieces of equipment on a monthly basis. So I have a good background and understanding in contract review, various different kinds of contracts versus maintenance versus purchasing, that kind of thing. And with my experience in people, with being a liaison with the federal government and corporations and such, my communication skills have allowed our company to get one of the highest quality ratings in our industry in the aviation with our quality standards that we have. And with that, I think I could do something for Van Alstyne. Thank you.
Before that, I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in what is your top priority? If you were to be elected into office, there's many things you'd like to work on, but we'd like you to identify what is really your top priority to get done. And this time, if we could start on that side with the Place 5 candidates for City Council, we'll start with Mr. Barker.
I think my top priority is, recently I've seen a lot of discontent, and I'd like to bring the unity back to the council so that the people could feel more comfortable with the council and what it has been in the past. I see some things that could be worked on. I would be one person and a vote, but know that I would have a drive to make it worthwhile for all the community in decisions that were made by the council. I believe that the council is the leadership role of the city, and it should have the best interest of the city. I haven't seen that in a while, but I would like to make that a better place. Thank you.
Thank you.
My top priority would be to work with the other councilmen to come up with a way to handle getting our infrastructure fixed. That is the most important. We cannot fix roads until we fix the pipelines and the sewers and the water lines below them. So we need to start going around and getting those things fixed. We might as well give up on getting money from the federal government because we're not going to get it. So you know, we're too ritzy a town, they say. So our average income is too high, so we can't qualify for it. So we're going to have to come up with ways to get us out of this problem. That lack of doing it for many councils for many years have resulted in us not having anything to work with.
Yeah, the main thing I'd like to change is I'd like to, like I said before, I'd like to see the city council, city hall, city employees get a little bit more friendlier with the citizens of town. You know, I've seen, for example, the city hall closes from 12 to 1 every day, and a lot of people can only conduct business during their lunch break. I don't understand why that is. There's another issue that come up about last month or so. They quit giving out letting you get extensions on your water bill. So if you're out of town or something, you couldn't even call in and get an extension. That even happened to me while I was gone. Infrastructure, yeah, it's terrible. I think we got money going places that are unnecessary things. I mean, our streets and stuff should be priority number one, and I believe there's still stuff we can cut back, because I've looked at it, and I don't know why in a small city of 3,000 we pay so much more for city employees than other small cities of our size. And I believe if we could get that back down to where it needs to be in proportion, we'd have funds to fix our streets. And like I say, I know of there's another department I think is just totally, I don't think it serves the citizens at all. But I'll elaborate on that later. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
I think my biggest priority would be, let's not make mistakes the big cities make. Spend our money where we need it, make sure it's where we really need. Don't go out there and build a road, fix the road, and 2 weeks later go back, replace the sewer line, cut the road all up. If it needs a sewer line first, spend the money there, then fix the road. That's the mistakes I see in big cities all the time. And another one is let the citizens know what you're doing. If somebody asks you a question, try to answer it the best you can. Let them know what you're doing. Just don't tell them that, well, that's what we decided and that's what we voted on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My number one priority was to bring unity to the council. Working together to move forward, like I say, council's worthless and nobody can get along. We need to be able to fix the streets, we need to be able to fix the infrastructure, but we need to be able to work together as adults and human beings and work it out. Plug through it. It doesn't need to be name calling and finger pointing. We have an issue to resolve. Let's work together. Let's get it. And coming from a developer side, a positive image on a city is coming from the city officials is very appealing to good quality business. This is the kind of thing that we want to present. If a developer sees us as just a town that can't get along, can't get anything done, they're going to skip past us.
My biggest priority for Van Alstyne is I would like to direct this city, and not just the city council, but the entire city, in a positive manner where we could all work together, not just the council, but the city, and that we could get our residents involved in the city and have more communication between the council and the citizens and more participation in our council meetings. That when people heard about Van Alstyne, the things that they would hear would be in a positive manner. And it can only start with us. We are the only ones who can change it, and not necessarily me. I want to change it, and I think everyone else does. But we can't do it if we don't put forth that extra effort. And I would like to do that, and I would like to lead this town in a positive manner where it was friendly not only to the merchants, to the builders, to the residents, but that we would have a positive attitude for all of those who view Van Alstyne. Thank you.
I think my top priority would be to put wind underneath of the wings of the city staff that we have. I believe that the city staff is sharp and they're knowledgeable, and I think that it'd be very important to help them to become everything that they can be. I also see as a part of doing that, helping them to find the answers that they need to make sure that the infrastructure is corrected, that the community is united. I agree that we should do everything that we can to promote Van Alstyne, and I see the mayor's job as primarily being that voice and face that promotes Van Alstyne. I want the world to know what a wonderful little town that we have, what a treasure we are as a people group and as a city, and that's what I'd like to see happen in Van Alstyne.
Thank you. We're 2/3 of the way through our questions, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. Let me remind you that I don't come up with these questions. These are questions from the chamber and citizens. But we're going to take a little departure and tackle a little lighter subject. We've had some weighty questions and weighty answers. Now, if I could ask you something about you. If you could tell us something memorable about you as a person that maybe most people don't know. And believe it or not, we have a question: what is your favorite color? Now, if you can relate it somehow back to your candidacy, you will get bonus points. So we have a minute each, and again, to keep it mixed up, we'll start with Mr. Moore, if we could, with you and the place for city.
Well, I guess what I don't share with a lot of people is that my passion growing up was football, and I got the opportunity to walk on to the Texas Tech football team, and the very first day that I walked on, it was during the age of Spike Dykes. He told me, "Son, you're going to be playing on Sundays." I was the tallest defensive back he had that he had seen. I walked on, believe it or not, I was the fastest guy on the team. I don't tell many people about that because the very next thing that happened was I got deathly sick. And my whole dream fell apart. In fact, I didn't get cleared for by doctors for a couple of years because they thought there could be neurological issues and whatnot. But to tie that to my candidacy is that what I learned through that is that the dream that fell apart didn't mean my life fell apart. And I found new breath and found new ways and new dreams and new passion to move forward in a very positive life. So it's unique and not something that I share very often.
We appreciate that color.
Blue.
Okay. We got to get the questions answered. Mr. Mata, if you could follow.
I don't think I can. No, it's a sad moment in my life, but I learned responsibility at 5 years old. 5 years old, I lost 4 brothers, sister, and my dad in a house fire. I learned responsibility with my mother. My mother has always been my mentor. Always respected her. Always wanted to make her proud of me. She was proud of me when I went in the military. She was proud of me when I came back home from Vietnam. She's proud of me now, just for being a grandfather. And I'm proud of myself for that too. I'm proud of her favorite color is also mine, purple. And I'm looking forward to be a councilman, and she is too. Thank you very much.
Okay. Color, sir?
Purple.
Purple.
I'm almost, I think my wife doesn't even know this, so this could be fun. When I was probably 11 years old, I competed in a bowling tournament as a part of a 4-person team. And we won. It was all over the United States that everybody went there on the same Saturday and competed, and then they turned in all the scores. Our team won 387th place in the nation, which was a trophy about that tall for 387. I always wanted to see what the first guys got, because they had to really get something neat. Okay, and blue is my color, and that's the only story I can think of.
Keep mine out of the way, it's blue.
All right.
Since I'm fairly new in Van Alstyne, I'm a heavy into family. I love my family. I cherish every moment that I can play with my grandchildren. Anytime they come over, Papa's got to get in the middle of them and play with them. Probably my most cherished time is, I'm a licensed scuba diver, and we go to Mexico periodically and go scuba diving. Well, all my grandson's life, he would get in my closet and dig around in my scuba gear and just play with it. And it'd be bigger than him touching the floor. But he'd say, "Papa, one day when I turn 12, you're going to take me scuba diving." I said, "All right." Well, lo and behold, 12 came around. And about a month before his birthday, I asked him, I said, Nathan, what would you like to have for your birthday? Expecting a Game Boy or, game like that. He said, well, Papa, all this time of my life you've been telling me that you're going to take me scuba diving when I got 12. And I go, yeah, I did, didn't I? So, lo and behold, a month later, I put him in diving classes. And then that following summer, we went to Cozumel, and I got to dive with my grandson. That was one of the most cherishing things I've ever had. And I love my family.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barker.
I guess probably my most memorable childhood experience is growing up right here in Van Alstyne, back when we had our centennial, our 100th birthday here in Van Alstyne. I guess that was back in, 73? They had everything from balloon tossing contest to I don't know, what is it where you tie your legs together and run down the road, and it was all the time. Yeah, three-legged race. Yeah, and seemed like once, and this lasted all week long. They had everything from a old country and western play, western with bar fights and everything else in there, and then that lasted, I guess, 3 nights. Every day around lunch, they'd take one of the local merchants and go carry them over to the water trough and dump them in the water trough. They did I remember doing that to Bill Barrett and a bunch of them. But they had this thing at the museum. I still remember we all would go up there. All the kids would go in there. And it was sarsaparilla. They'd sell it in it was like little medicine, but it wasn't. It was some kind of coat. And it was real good. We'd drink that all day. But that was a unique time here in Van Alstyne. Favorite colors? Blue.
My dad was in the Marine Corps, and so we moved a lot, about every 9 to 13 months of my life. And so I had the opportunity to learn a lot of things and do some unique things. And so I got to tell you, I know how to do the hula. I'm pretty good with the hula hoop. I surfed. I climbed Pikes Peak when I turned 50 years old. And I know a lady's not supposed to tell her age, but I'm pretty adventurous. My favorite color is fuchsia, which is a bright pink, if you're not familiar with that color. And I think that it's just indicative of the fact that I believe, as the mayor, that I will not be afraid of new things that come my way. I'm willing to give it a try.
My favorite color is green. And I have 2 stories. The first one is, my father was mayor before I was, and my mother worked in Greenville, so I went to the activities that he had to go to, whether it was the graduation at the police academy or otherwise, and people got to where they thought he had a very young wife. So when we went, he would always say, "This is my daughter," because one couple wouldn't talk to us because they thought he was my sugar daddy instead of my daddy. So then when I got married, of course, I wanted to run for mayor, and I had a very supportive family. And a lot of people would ask my husband, well, what do you think about your wife being mayor? Well, he said, well, that was fine with him. But then after I became mayor, and he started getting mail from his friends living in a small town, it was addressed to the husband of the mayor, not Jerry Solomon.
And I still get it.
And he still gets it that way. The other story I want to tell you about does deal with the museum, and it does deal with what Adam said. Because several of us ladies wanted to serve sarsaparilla. Mr. Hines had made a bar, and we thought it would be so neat if we could just serve sarsaparilla. Well, I'd seen all these Western movies, and I did not know there was an alcohol content to sarsaparilla. And none of the rest of us did. The lady next door, who was one of the founding members, and these were ladies whose relatives were founding members of the town. She brought over a crock this big, this deep, and we're getting ready to do it. We had gone to Dallas, and we bought the bottles of pure sarsaparilla. And I happened to be in the drugstore, and Jack Strickland said, what are y'all doing for the centennial? I said, well, we're making sarsaparilla. We have our labels and our bottles and everything. He says, you can't do that. The the government frowns on you serving alcohol without a license. Well, from then on, we served flavored sarsaparilla with water. We did not put the yeast in it. We did not let it ferment in anyone's closet, as we had tried to do. So we did stay away from the law that day, but the sarsaparilla was good, even if we did have it watered down real thin.
That's 10 minutes of a little lightheartedness and getting to know you as a person. Now back to business. This next question deals with the issue that's been kind of big in Van Alstyne, at least for the last 2 years that I know of, and it has to do with what type of city government Van Alstyne should have. And we would be interested to know, what type of city government do you envision? Please address the positions of mayor, city manager, and the city council. And we're going to start at the far end with Mr. Weiss for this question.
Well, on this issue here, I'll probably stand alone on this one. Seeing how we're a small town of only 3,000 people, I believe we still ought to go back to a city administrator form of government rather than city manager. You know, until we become till we get over the, what is it, where you're a general law city, right? You know, when we get over the 5,000 population to where it's feasible and it'll work in our favor for a city manager, I believe we ought to go back to a city administrator. You can get a city administrator in for a lot less money, and a city manager could do no more for, in my best understanding, than a city administrator can in a small general law city. And I believe it just benefit us all. Better to go back to that, and that's my opinion.
I agree with having the city manager. I think that the way our current city is set up, that where the city council hires the city manager, and the reason I say that is because a city manager is kind of like a application for employment. You're going to try to find the best candidate with their qualifications. I think that city mayor is one of the leaders for the public eye, but sometimes I think the qualifications lack on actually running the actual day-to-day business that a city manager usually has background for. His schooling, his prior businesses and such. So I would support a city manager in our current situation the way we are.
Okay, thank you.
I am in favor of the kind of administrative setup that we have right now. I like the people that are in the positions. I think they're doing a good job. I see no reason for us to spend all our time trying to change what's something that has finally become workable and is finally working. They're cooperating with the people, the citizenry of the town. They're being nice to them. They're helping people, being helpful to them. I think this is all what we wanted in the past and just never got to, that we're now going to get to.
Well, I agree. I think we ought to stay with the city manager. I mean, if we're going to move forward, we need to go ahead and just get us a city manager. You know, he's supposed to be qualified for the position. He's probably got background in city administration to also, you know, he knows how to run it. And as far as the other positions, I think they're fine just the way they are.
With the current growth and living growth imposed on this city, along with the infrastructure issues, the only way this city can be run efficiently and effectively is with the city manager run government.
I think that the position of the mayor is to be a leader, to conduct the council meetings, to have a good PR and rapport with the public. I think the city council's duty is to set the policies. And as far as the city manager, you have to have a city manager because it is a full-time position and needs all the time that is required. I also believe that you should have a city manager that you have enough confidence in that the council doesn't run the city but makes the policy on which the city runs. Thank you.
I am a big supporter of the general law governmental system that Van Alstyne currently has. I feel like we have hired the best person for the job for the ability to pay him what we can pay him. I think that, Frank is, I think he's about one course away from receiving his master's in public administration, and I think that he's doing a great job. I've actually gone in and sat down and talked with Frank. I've asked him some pointed questions, and I have to tell you that I literally came away thinking we definitely have the right person in this job. He can do far more than his education might even have caused us to think that he could do. I believe that the City Council does set legislation and that the mayor is there to chair the City Council meetings and be the PR person and again support the city manager and the city staff in any other way that they need assistance with.
Okay, thank you. We're on the next to last question, and it has to do with if you have any particular thoughts on how to promote the city of Van Alstyne. We'll leave it at that. How would you promote the city of Van Alstyne? And we'll start with Mrs. Salmon.
How to promote the city of Van Alstyne. Well, public relations is very important. I think it's important to be known and to be active, not just in the city, but as a mayor, you need to be active in the county. You need to be well known at TCOG and to be able to work with your county commissioner, because the city also doesn't depend just on the city, but we have to work with the commissioners also. The roads that come through town, some of them are county roads, so it's not limited to just the city. And I would like the opportunity to do so and have done so in the past. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with Ms. Salmon that we have lost some connection with both Grayson County and with the Collin County and the state of Texas, and we need to be more involved in all those entities. I also feel that it's really important that the mayor in particular makes known that Van Alstyne is here and works together to form some type of a PR program. I think we need some formal marketing for the city of Van Alstyne. I just saw recently that Deborah Pettit had brought up a group of realtors from the area to show them the city, and I think we need to do a lot more of that. I think we need to specifically go and farm again for the businesses and the developers, the builders that we'd like to come here. I think that we need something in Van Alstyne that literally says we are here. I think our downtown, again, is just a wonderful opportunity that we have to bring people up to Van Alstyne, and that we need to work really hard to make that downtown shine. So that's what I'm thinking we need.
I just think just getting along, letting people know that when they come to this town, show how friendly you are. Having the city council work together, let them know that we're a unit, we're all working together, that we understand where we're all coming from, and we want more people in this town. Maybe get a slogan for our town. You know, most towns have a slogan or a motto, you know, something that's unique, but you know, just something that let people know we're here and we're friendly, we want you here too.
Promotion seems to fall into the expertise of marketers. One thing I've learned about marketers is that they're really good at drawing you in. And a mayor that can draw people in with a good face and getting out and to the county and the state and the local levels and really drawing people in, then we got to put our money where our mouth is. You know, and that means that we have to promote that positive image that has been marketed for our town. That means our city council has to step up and be working together, and the community has to be bound together and keeping that friendly atmosphere of a great community. So I see it as two parts: great marketing, but also putting our money where our mouth is and with action, and proceeding with action.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I believe we need to. I think to promote our community would be a good idea is to have special events, whether they're charity events, and then really advertise them, and constantly be putting this on, like a downtown, you know, like I was talking about the Fall Festival or something. You know, of course we do a lot of that now, but I believe we could advertise it more and get more and more people out, and and get it across the county, across the state. Try to get something unique, something nobody else does. If we could work on that, I believe that would be our best way to market our city. Thanks.
I know what promoted Van Alstyne to me is I started seeing our police department in the newspaper on how safe their streets were, their highways, their neighborhoods. I also saw where the schools were excellent. They had new schools. They were being built. They were I saw the downtown. I saw the old style friendliness of the people, of the downtown communities, and I believe we promote that because the first question that people ask when they say, well, you know, what is your town like? They want to know about how's your schools for their children? How's the police department? Is it safe to walk around in neighborhoods? I think we keep promoting that in the public eye, in the newspapers, and such, as well as have various activities. That we have our fall festivals and such. Keep that up. Keep going. Publicize it more so that people want to come to our small town and be involved in it. That's what brought me here. Thank you.
I agree with Teddy in on the concept of the mayor has to get involved in the county, state, and other organizations and entities throughout the area. That's how you connect with other people that can help you out, and that you can actually, you know, gain things for your community as you go in partnership with other communities. I also believe that it's very important that our city employees work in a cooperative manner with developers, with builders, with people that come into this community that want to do something. That you got to be supportive of them. You got to try to help them in every way possible. You got to do whatever you can do for them. Also, I think that as a councilman, what I can do is there was an organization a company that came here and made a presentation here at the college about how to get businesses to come to your town. They go out and find, by demographics, they find what businesses your people are spending their money at in some other town and drive them to go see. Then they try to convince that company to come build a place at your place. So that now that tax money is not going away all the time. But I don't think the council liked the idea at the time. Maybe as we get a new council, maybe they will. That's my hope anyway.
Thank you. The last question is a little free form. It's kind of maybe a little re-emphasis on what you may have already said. But for the particular positions, for the two folks running for mayor, the folks that we have present at least, the 2 of the 4 running for place 4 and the 3 candidates running for place 5, tell us why we should vote for you for that position. And we'll end with that. If we could start with Ms. Kelly.
I feel that at the place that Van Alstyne is, I have the expertise to be able to work together with the city staff and the city council and the residents of this community to do 2 things. To number 1, to work toward correcting some of the problems that we have as a city, and also to begin to help the city to move toward a planned growth model. I feel like my 18 years of executive and professional experience is very important right now at this juncture of the city. One of the things that we didn't touch on at all tonight is the aging infrastructure. It was barely mentioned, but I have actually sat down with Frank. I feel like there are some very specific things that we can do to work to fix the streets, the sewers, the water system, these things, as well as grow. In fact, I believe that the growth will help to correct some of the issues that we're facing if we can do this positively and right. I feel like as a community we've got a lot going for us, and I believe that I am a connector of people and can work very hard to help the citizens of Van Alstyne to make their community shine.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
I feel like that I have a good rapport with people, not just in this town, but in this county. I also feel like that it is the duty of everyone to give back to a community what you have given. I have the time and the energy to do that. And I feel like the job of mayor is very time consuming if you do it correctly, and that you need to be seen, you need to be in public, you need to visit with the merchants, you need to be out there so that people can see you, and that you need to project a positive image. And I want very much for Van Alstyne to have a positive image. And if I had one thing that I could add to Van Alstyne, I would love to see this town have more to offer to the young people of all ages, not just in school, not just at baseball and football, but there are many things we could offer to our young people, and I think it's very important. And I would like to be a part of that and an encouragement for it. Thank you very much for your time.
I never like trying to sell myself.
Now's the time to do it.
I like my friends and people that know me to do it, but I feel like the reason that you should vote for me is that I bring to the table a lot of experience within development and working with city governments to get things done. And I've always worked with people in a positive nature. And that's part of the reason I believe that I've had a lot of success in that area, is where a lot of people have failed in certain areas. They failed because they couldn't get along, and they fought. And I've always strived in everything that I've done to work through the challenges and the conflicts to make things peaceful and to make things work. So that's the reasons I believe that I'm the best candidate.
Well, I really don't have much reason why and how come. What I really think is that we need to try to keep our children here in this town, try to find some entertainment for them instead of them having to go all the way to Sherman, Denison. Also finding our ways and making sure that we get our money's worth, whatever we're paying for, that we're getting the best for our value. And the city is advised of what's going on with the city council. You know, you go to these city council meetings and sometimes you don't even have 50 people there. There's more than 50 people in this town. Everybody in this town should know, and everybody in this town should be able to talk to a council member on the street if he needs time. You know, you got to make time for the people. They're the ones that are going to elect you or not elect you. They're the ones that are most important. If you make them happy, you keep your office.
The reason I think you ought to vote for me is because I believe that I've done a good job as a council member. I've dealt with the people. I don't think you can find a single person in town that has come to me with a problem that I haven't at least got an answer for. I may not get the answer they wanted, it may not accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, but I will work to get the answers for their questions. I'm always available. Everybody that's tried to get in touch with me always finds me. Whether it's people that I know that every time I talk to I'm going to have an argument, it doesn't really make a difference. I still listen to them and let them present their opinions, and they can cuss me out if they want to. It hurts, but I still listen, and I give them what I think is a fair and honest answer to the questions. And I'm here to represent the people, and if they want me, to do that, then I'm happy to do it.
I believe that I could help Van Alstyne because of my experience in policy writing and procedures writing that benefit everybody involved. I try to find the most efficient and most cordial way to understand everybody's situation. I try to do the best that I can in the understanding a person's problem before I try to make a decision. I try to get all details of the problem and try to make a reasonable answer in a reasonable solution for that issue. That's what I've been doing for 20 years. I've been dealing with people. I've been manager for all these years, and I think I can help Van Alstyne do that. I want to see our community grow. I believe that I can do that with my expertise in it, and I hope that I have a chance. Thank you.
I guess the reason reason why I want you to vote for me is just basically I have a true concern for the needs of the citizens of this town. I hear, I talk to them all the time around town, and a lot of people are very dissatisfied with things that are going on. The current city government, whether it's city hall or city council or the administrators, a lot of people feel like they're just not very citizen friendly right now. I mean, and they got certain policies in effect that even back that up. Secondly, we have got to go work on our infrastructure. That's very important. That is probably the most complained about subject all through the city. And yet, what is this now? This is my third time to run, and nothing's been. And the streets are a lot worse now than they have been since the first time around. And I'll go to work for you to try to fix these problems. And I'm really not concerned with the bureaucracy at all. I'm more concerned about your needs. Thank you.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground, from very serious topics to more lighthearted topics. So let's give the candidates a round of applause. First, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event, and to each of the candidates for sharing an evening with us and allowing us to get to know you better as people, as candidates, and to understand where you stand on the issues. So thank you very much for your time. This is not the end of the Meet the Candidate experience. We'll have about 10 minutes after we conclude momentarily to tackle anyone out in the hall if you have any burning questions that we didn't address. Also, if you'd like to have your questions answered in a more formal setting, we do have the next Meet the Candidate forum on the 25th of April, as Judy mentioned earlier, at 7 p.m. Same place, right? And if you want your questions to be asked, then please submit them to the Chamber of Commerce office in advance. So thank you again for your attention and your interest in the election. Please have a good night.